Hello and welcome. I'm Kathy Lee, and I have a project to share with you as part of the Country Craft Creations Christmas in July event that we're having. Many of the design team members are making albums and cards and all kinds of little Christmas type projects to share with our group. And I used um, the Cartabella's Santa's Workshop, which is this collection. So I used the 12 by 12, the 6 by 6. I also used the Tonic Studios, this album bookmaker dies, and they're basically dies that make pages, and they have kind of like a stitched edge and stub type feature, and then you can make your pages as long as you want. You can make an entire book just like this with it. I decided to go with a standard chipboard album, so that's what I did for this one. But my pages are using these dies, and I used the second largest ones. So I wanted to share with you the cover has the signature page. I just cut out part of it from the die, and then I also used some Cartabella snowflake dies that I had in my stash from probably a couple years ago, and I put a little bit of glue on them, and not it's kind of hard to see that. Let's see if I can. There we go. Okay, so now you can see the snowflakes, and I put a little bit of glamour dust on them so that they're kind of sparkly. And then for the spine, I used one of the brads that comes with the kit, and then I took a bunch of the ephemera and tags, and I did some layering with some chipboard and some Nouveau glaze on a few pieces, tied it with the with some baker's twine and there we go. And then this cute little Santa brad. It's adorable. The collection that I have had these brads, so you can see I used a couple and a tag in here, and then ephemera pieces. I had 2 packs of ephemera and then some enamel dots. So I used as much as I possibly could, and I still have enough to make a whole bunch of cards. I used this collection from the Craftology box last year, and there's just, and then I also purchased a full collection of my own. So I kind of had 2 sets, and when Tammy said we're going to have Christmas in July, I thought, what better way to use up my scraps and all the extra papers that I have than to do that. So that's my spine, and then on the back I just used this cute candy cane striped paper, and this is an ephemera tag, and it says to and from, and then I made a little like paper ribbon, and then I used one of the brads on the back. So let's get into this. The first page actually has the memories die that is part of this collection, and I cut it out like 3 times to layer it up, and I glued it together so it'd be really dimensional, and it's really thick. It looks like chipboard. It's really pretty. And then I also have an expandable pocket, and it's just a simple expandable pocket. And I see that my autofocus keeps going in and out, so I'm going to undo that. There we go. Okay, and then in my expandable pocket, there's just a lot of room for all kinds of elements. I use the dies to make some photo mats, and use some of the 12 by 12 papers plain on the back, so you could put photos on the pattern paper or on the back, and then or journal on the back as well. And then I also made a cute little booklet with some pages in the middle. That way you can go in and write certain things that was special about this particular Christmas season. Maybe even some new cookie recipes. You could also record that kind of stuff. I think these are really, really cute idea. And then for this one, I just simply used some of my white artisan cardstock, and then I used my stub punch, my memory keeper stub punch, and used that to keep the kind of the same design feature as the dies. So, and then these are just some ephemera tags, and I topped them with some seam binding and a couple with baker's twine, and they just tuck in right there like that. Just so simple. This book came together so quick. I will do a tutorial after I show you the album, but basically all the pages are exactly the same. And for the front of each page, I have a booklet, and again, I use my stub punch for this part. And then you just open it like that. You can put photos inside. And I made a belly band for each one, and then I used some type of chipboard piece to help hold it so it doesn't fall out. This is an ephemera piece, and this also has some enamel dots. I apologize if you can hear my puppy. He's barking. He's very unhappy that I'm in my craft room and not playing with him, so I apologize. So each one of the pages has a photo mat, and I used a sticker and then my Stampin' Up! Tab punch, and then they're just blank on the back side, and all of them just tuck right in, and they're kind of tight. They're not, real tight, but I made them so that they'd be very secure. And then on the other side of each of the pages, I made a kind of a fold out. So this is the next smallest die, and I just adhered it inside between the two pieces. And I'll show you how I did that. That way, if you want to make this, you can certainly make this. So on this side, I have an ephemera piece with an enamel dot and then a cut apart, and I did put some white cardstock on some of my cut aparts so you could do some journaling if you want. And then again, front, each one has a photo booklet with a belly band, little chipboard piece, and some ephemera. This is also, or excuse me, enamel dots, ephemera. And then here's the pull out photo mat for that. And this one uses a sticker that says Dear Santa. This one said Noel. And I just used all these from my sticker sheet. Really, really simple. And then this is my fold out page for this side. This is a little tuck spot ephemera piece, and then some cut aparts. It's really simple to put together, very easy. And here's the photo booklet for this one. And like I said, I used both the 6x6 and the 12x12. So you can kind of tell this this is the 6x6 candy stripe versus this being the 12x12. And then I used a ephemera piece for the front of my belly band, and this is another chipboard piece. And this is my photo mat pull out for this page, and it says toys. And I just staggered each one so they'd be kind of offset from each of the all the tabs are offset for each of the photo mats. This is this side for the open out flap, and then I have another tuck spot, a couple of cut aparts, enamel dots. I just kind of went crazy, tried to use as much as I could, and I still have lots left. here's the photo booklet for that one. It says Christmas and 25th. That's the chipboard piece, and this is the map, photo map for that one. It's December 25th. And then this one opens like that. Again, another tuck spot with some enamel dots, cut aparts, just really simple stuff. And then the last page, I used a couple of ephemera pieces for my belly band on this one. This is the photo booklet for the last page. And then I used this cute little Santa's Workshop Arrow chipboard piece for the bottom of the booklet. And then this, I used some of the border paper. I love this collection. It's one of my favorites. And it says Mary on my tab. Okay, and then on the back, here's my fold out for that one. A couple of cut aparts. Again, tuck spot. This is an ephemera piece with some more enamel dots. And then for the back page, I created a waterfall for this one, and then I just used a magnetic closure. This is a sticker, and it opens like this, and then this is actually the smallest one, so I used this die here for my waterfall. And then each one opens like this, and then I just alternated a little bit of the 6x6 pattern paper scraps that I had. And that is the waterfall. Okay, so now we are going to, I'm going to show you how I made the pages for this book. Really, really simple. I'll go over how I made this pocket as well. It's really, really easy. Okay, so I'm going to show you how I made the pages for my book. I'm also going to leave the dimensions for the chipboard and the hinge, so that if you want to make this book, you certainly can. So, but I'm just going to show you how I made the pages, and then I'll go over how I made this pocket. Okay. So what I've done is I've taken this is I think it's okay. So this is the second largest die, and then this is number 3. So this actually comes with 5 different page dies. I used the smallest one for my waterfall. So for my pages though, this is the second largest, and what you do is you put it on your paper, and I didn't do any specific way, just enough to leave for your hinge, because this part is going to create your hinge. And when you take the die off of the paper, the hinge part of the die does not cut, so you can make it as deep or as thin as you need. Now what I did for this piece is I measured 3/8 from the dots. That's how I made my pages. So what I did is I took my piece like this, and I just trimmed the edge where it stopped cutting, just like that, as straight as I can, because we're going to go back and trim this up on the trimmer. And then I did the same thing with my smaller die. So when you pull it out, it's still attached to the page. So I took my scissors and just trimmed up to that cut, And when I put it on the paper, I probably left about a half an inch here. But for the purposes of this book, I measured 3/8 from this first perforation. And the die itself, I'm not sure if you can see this. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so the die itself has these little perforated dots, and it creates a cute little pattern on your paper. So I just measured from that perforation to the edge at 3/8 and trimmed. So we'll do that now. So I'm just going to get my trimmer out here. Okay, and then I set this in my trimmer like so. And then I took my perforation, lined it up to 3/8. Close and cut. So that we don't need, that's trash. And then now I have 3/8 of an inch from that perforation. And when we put these together, they're symmetrical, so they will fit together as a pocket page. That's what I love about this. And we're not going to glue this part yet, because this is actually going to go on our hinge. So we've got now our standard page. However, we need to trim our flap. So what this is going to do, this is going to sit in between the two of these. I'm going to make a score mark, and I'm going to trim this again up to 3/8. I don't want it to be too far inside here because I'm going to use this as a pocket. So again, we're going to line this up at the 3/8 inch and trim. Okay. Now I'm going to get out my scoreboard, and I'm going to score this flap at about 1/4 of an inch. So I'm just going to take my piece of cardstock here and just 1/4 inch. Now that's the only scoring you're going to need for this. And then I'm just going to fold it back as easily as I can. Because it's very, very small, very short, it's very hard to fold that back at first. Okay, so I'm just going to, I'm just going to score and burnish, and then this is going to be adhered in between my pages for my flap. Okay, so we're going to do that now. Now the flap is only one sheet. Your pages glued together are going to be, of course, two cuts. So all in all, there's 5 pages, so there's 10 cuts of this, 5 cuts of this. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and glue my page kind of as centered as possible, and I'm just going to glue it right up to, I'm going to do it this way, I think. Oh, that's the outside, excuse me. I'm going to put it right at the score, but not on top of it. So let me get my glue here. So I'm going to glue my little flap. You can make this flap a little wider, but I didn't want to take up the pocket space. Okay, and then I'm just going to sit that right on top, right at the score mark. Okay, and then push that down for the glue. There we go. Okay, that's going to create my flap. Now, this, got it kind of backwards, or upside down rather, because this is what it looks like in the book. It's like this. This is the front of the page, then you open, and then this is the flap. Okay, now what I will do is I'm going to use just a small bead of glue along, kind of along the where that perforation was, and then over top. So the left side, bottom, and the right side, and just inside that perforation. And then I'm going to put these together just like this, and that creates my pocket page. Okay, and then this is the flap. So we'll burnish that down really nice and hard. That way it'll sit nice and flat. Once you start putting pattern paper on it, it will get heavy and it'll sit nice and close to it, so you don't have to do, or you don't have to use a lot of magnets. Okay, so there's my page. Now you see that I have my pocket that I can put this inside here, and I'll leave the measurements for this as well, so that you know how large it is. It will fit snugly, but still plenty of room on each side. Just don't get your glue too far to the inside of your page. And then I'm going to use this as I can't use that as the demonstration because that is my pocket piece. Okay, so now I'm going to demonstrate how you will put it on your hinge. So your hinge, just like any hinge, is going to be scored and it'll be folded. I'm just going to really quick do a couple of scores so that you can see. And usually it's for these I did 1 inch or excuse me, 1/2 inch hinges and 3/4 inch gussets. So I'm just going to use this as my demo. Okay, and then here. Okay, that's my hinge. I'm going to go ahead and put some glue on here so that you can kind of see how this is going to work. Glue that nice and tight. Okay, and then, oops, that did not want to stay glued together. I think sometimes in Colorado it's so dry and there's no humidity, things just don't want to glue very well here. Even Scor-tape. I don't know. That's just a guess. So basically what you will do is you'll have your Scor-tape on your hinge, so a 1/4 inch Scor-tape on both sides, and then you peel it off. A lot of times I like to do it one at a time. My camera is moving here. I need to get it away from the table. Okay, so I like to take off my Scor-tape one at a time. So one side I'll pull it apart, and then you just open your page like this, and you'll slide it on, glue it down really, really tight, and then on the other side I just lift this up, pull the tape off, and then I know that I can get it nice and even, and that's how it will sit on your hinge. Now what I did with my book here too is I measured, and again I'll give you the measurements. I measured my let's get it in camera, my gussets, or excuse me, my hinge, probably about a 1/4 of an inch shorter than my pages. So this is approximately 6 1/4. So I just made my hinge 6 inches by whatever it was for 5 pages. So I'll put the dimensions, the measurements in the description box. So if you are interested in making this, then you have all that at your fingertips. So that is how you make the pages. Really simple, really simple. I love this die. It's really cute, and there's a lot of things that you can do with this. So even though you might have one flap, you can actually do multiple flaps or put another like smaller die flap in here. This is another idea that I had. So you can take this die size and you can put it inside there and have that as a flap, and this side as well. It's really simple. Lots of creativity, lots of ways to create a lot of dimension and interactive pages for your albums. Okay, so that's the page. Now let's move on to the pocket, the expandable pocket. And this pocket is 8.5 inches. Well, the cardstock is 8.5 inches by 4 inches. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to score this at 1/2 inch, 1 inch, and 1.5 inches. And then I'm going to turn it around and do the same thing. 1/2 inch, 1 inch, and 1.5 inches. And then a 1/4 turn, and then on the 4-inch side, I'm going to score at 1/2 inch. Okay. Now, all I'm going to do is I'm going to cut. There we go. There you can kind of see the score marks. So I'm going to cut all 3 of these little pieces from these score lines. So I'm going to cut off of the 3 score marks. Oh my gosh, I don't know if you can see that. Okay, there we go. So I cut up to those 3, to the very last score mark, and then I'm going to cut this down here, and I'm going to angle it so it'll fit inside my pocket nice and neat, and do the same thing on this side. Okay, and that's what your pocket's going to look like. Now, all you need to do is fold, fold on the bottom. And then this part, you're going to fold mountain. Then valley. Then mountain. And this creates that expandable pocket. Do the same thing on this side. That's my mountain. This is my valley, and then another mountain. Okay, just like that. Really easy, really easy. Now, what I'm going to do is when I get ready to put my Scor-tape on, I'm going to put Scor-tape here, and I'm not going to miter these edges because you're going to put pattern paper down inside here, as you can see, inside, so it's going to cover it anyway, and you're not going to need to miter any of those edges. Okay, so what I would do is put Scor-tape on these, just like that. And then some Scor-tape on the bottom here. And then when you get ready to take the score tape off and adhere it to your book or your page, whatever you want. I'm going to take off the score tape off of the sides first, and then I'm going to fold this up against those edges. That way it has adhered at the corner, and it's really, really easy. All you have to do is strip this off and put it on your book, and that's it. So that is how you create the expandable pocket. Okay. I think that is it. Like I said, I will put all of the dimensions for how to make the book, as well as the Hinge and the photo booklets and the pull-out photo mats. So I will put all of those dimensions in the description. So if you want to make this cute little album, you can. Thanks for joining me for Christmas in July with Country Craft Creations. Please check out my design team members. They have lots of great crafty projects for this event as well. Have a great time and lots of crafting to you. Bye-bye.